Hi all, this is a complete guide for Delia Hanako as part of the Family Battler achievement. I'll add timestamps in the description so you can easily jump to the fight you want. First up is Hobbyist Aquarist. Your first pet is a Spawner Gnathus with Jolt, Lightning Shield and Paralysing Shock. Your second pet is a Coastal Scuttler with Frostspit, Stampede and Bubble. And finally a Plump Jelly or similar pet with Tentacle Slap and Squeeze. Start with your spawn and cast Lightning Shield, followed by Jolt, then Paralysing Shock, and one more Jolt. This will finish your fungus and Miri enters. Just pass. Your spawn will then be defeated. Once defeated, bring in your Coastal Scuttler. Start with Bubble, followed by Stampede, once Stampede is finished, cast Frostspit until Murray is defeated. Will usually take 2. Once Murray is defeated, all blue enters. If your Scuttler is low on health, just use Stampede until defeated. If you have a decent amount of health, cast a couple of Frostspits before using Stampede. But make sure there's a Shattered Defenses debuff present on all blue when your Scuttler is defeated. Once your Scuttler is defeated, your Jelly enters. Start with Squeeze, and then if needed, Tentacle Slap until the fight is done. Next up we have Beast Mode. Your first pet is a Zandalari Kneebiter with Hunting Party, Black Claw and Bloodfang. Your second pet is a Lurking Owl Kitten with Quills, Screech and Feathered Frenzy. And finally, just as backup, any level 25 beast pet with Bite, Hiss and Burrow. Start with your Kneebiter and cast Black Claw, followed by Hunting Party, second round of Hunting Party will finish off Fungus and Miri will enter. Start with Black Claw and if possible Bloodfang, but you will usually be defeated. Once defeated, bring in your Owl Kitten. Start with Screech, followed by Feathered Frenzy, and then if needed, Quills until Miri is defeated. Once Miri is defeated, all blue enters. Start with Screech, and now use Feathered Frenzy on cooldown and Quills to fill until the fight is done. If you're getting lucky with some bad RNG, use your final pet to clean up. Use Burrow if Whirlpool was about to hit, Hiss if all blue is faster, otherwise Bite. Now for critters with huge teeth. Your first pet is Nuts with Woodchipper, Crouch and Stampede. Your second pet is a Dark Moon Hatchling with Peck, Hawkeye and Flock. And finally any rabbit with a speed above 322 with Flurry, Dodge and Burrow. Start with Nuts and cast Crouch, followed by Woodchipper, and then Stampede. The final round of Stampede should finish off Fungus and Miri enters. If Nuts is still alive, cast Stampede until defeated. I'll just pass here to show what it's like without the Shattered Defenses debuff applied. Once Nuts is defeated, bring in your Dark Moon hatchling. Cast Peck until Murray is defeated. Once Murray is defeated, all blue enters. Depending on the health of your Dark Moon hatchling, you can cast Hawkeye followed by Flock, or just cast Flock until if and when defeated. If your hatchling was defeated, your Rabbit enters. If there's a Whirlpool active, use Dodge when it has 1 round remaining, otherwise cast Flurry until the fight is done. Next we have Dragons Make Everything Better. Your first pet is a Phoenix Hawk hatchling with Quills, Flyby and Lift Off. Your second pet is a Stormborn Whelpling with Frost Breath, Mana Surge and Arcane Storm. And finally Creminius with Bite, Howl and Surge of Power. Start with Lift Off. And then use Quills until Fungus is defeated. Once Fungus is defeated, Murray enters. Start with Flyby. Then use Lift Off and Cooldown and Quills to fill until defeated. Sometimes you'll get the hit with Lift Off, sometimes you won't. Once defeated, bring in your Stormborn Whelpling. Start with Arcane Storm. Sometimes Murray will override this with his Cleansing Rain weather effect, sometimes he won't. Either way, it's not a problem. Follow this with Mana Surge. This should finish off Murray and all blue enters, and is hit by any remaining rounds of Mana Surge. Once Mana Surge has finished, cast Arcane Storm or Cooldown and Frost Breath to fill until if and when defeated. If defeated, your Creminius enters. Just cast Howl followed by Surge of Power. Next is Element of Success. Your first pet is a tiny snowman with Snowball, Cold Blizzard and Deep Freeze. Your second pet is an unstable tendril with Deep Burn, Scorched Earth and Elementium Bolt. And finally a Phoenix hatchling with Peck and Conflagrate. Start with Cold Blizzard. Followed by Deep Freeze. And then Snowball. Fungus will be stunned and will swap out for Murray, who will then be hit by this. Continue casting Snowball until Murray uses Cleansing Rain and changes the weather effect. When this happens, cast Cold Blizzard, followed by Deep Freeze when it's off cooldown, otherwise cast Snowball until Murray is defeated. Once Murray is defeated or stunned, Fungus re-enters. Use Cold Blizzard on cooldown, Deep Freeze on cooldown, and Snowball to fill until your snowman is defeated. Once defeated, bring in your Tendril. Use Scorched Earth on cooldown and Deep Burn to fill until both Fungus and Murray are defeated. It varies from fight to fight on which, if any of these, will still be alive when your snowman is defeated. Once both Murray and Fungus are defeated, all blue enters. Start with Elementium Bolt. And then Scorched Earth on cooldown and Deep Burn to fill until if and when your Tendril is defeated. If your Tendril was defeated, your Phoenix hatchling enters the battle. Use Conflagrate if the Scorched Earth weather effect is active, otherwise cast Peck until the fight is done. Now for fun with flying. Your first pet is a Turoclaw hatchling with Alpha Strike, Dodge and Ravage. Your second pet is a Diabig hatchling with Falcosaur Swarm, Iron Skin and Predatory Strike. And finally, any level 25 flying pet as backup. I use the Snowfeather hatchling with Falcosaur Swarm, Crouch and Predatory Strike. but any flying pet with a bonus damage to aquatic abilities will work fine. Start with your Turreclaw, cast Dodge, followed by Alpha Strike, a second Alpha Strike, then Ravage. The second round of Ravage will finish off Fungus and give your Turreclaw a small heal. Murray will enter. Start with Dodge, then Alpha Strike until Murray or your Turreclaw is defeated. I'll just pass here until my Turreclaw is defeated. If your Turreclaw is defeated before Murray, bring in your Diabeak and cast Predatory Strike, or Falcosaur Swarm if Murray is low on health. This should finish off Murray. Once Murray is defeated, all blue enters. Cast Iron Skin if you feel like it. Otherwise, Predatory Strike and cooldown if a Shattered Defenses debuff is active. Otherwise, Falcosaur Swarm until the fight is done. If you get unlucky with some bad RNG, use your final pet to clean up. Next we have human resources. Depending on RNG, this may take a few tries. Your first pet is a Harpy Youngling, with Quills, Fly By, and Lift Off. Your second pet is an Anubisaf Idol, with Crush, Sandstorm, and Deflection. And finally, a Helper, with Ice Lance, Cold Blizzard, and Gift of Winter's Veil. Start with Lift Off. And then use Quills until Fungus is defeated. Once Fungus is defeated, Murray enters. Start with Flyby. Now use Lift Off and Cooldown and Quills to fill until your Harpy or Murray is defeated. I'll pass a few rounds so my Harpy will be defeated to show you what to do should this happen to you. If your Harpy was defeated, bring in your Anubisaf Idol. Start with Sandstorm and use this on cooldown, and Crush to fill until Murray is defeated. Once Murray is defeated, all blue enters. If your Harpy was still alive, start with Flyby, then use Lift Off and Cooldown and Quills to fill until defeated. If your Idol is the active pet, use Deflection when Whirlpool has 1 round remaining, otherwise cast Sandstorm and Cooldown and Crush to fill until if and when defeated. If your Idol was also defeated, your Helper enters, use Gift of Winter's Veil, followed by Cold Blizzard and Ice Lance to fill until the fight is done. Now for Magician's Secrets. Your first pet is an Enchanted Pen, with Quills, Evanescence, and Foreboding Curse. Your second pet is a Heil Wisp, with Arcane Blast, Evanescence, and Wish. And then any level 25 magic pet as backup in case of some bad RNG. I went with Sanctum Cub, with Pounce, Leap, and Blackclaw. Start with your pen and cast Evanescence. Then use Quills until Fungus is defeated. Once Fungus is defeated, Murray enters. Start with Foreboding Curse, followed by Evanescence, then Quills until Murray is defeated. Once Murray is defeated, all blue enters. Start with Foreboding Curse. Now if low on health, follow this with Evanescence. Otherwise save this for when Whirlpool has 1 round remaining, and Quills to fill until if and when defeated. If defeated, bring in your Heil Wisp, save Evanescence for when Whirlpool has 1 round remaining, use Wish if needed, otherwise Arcane Blast until the fight is done. If you get some really bad RNG, use your final pet to clean up. Next up is Machine Learning. Your first pet is an Iron Starlet, with Wind Up, Toxic Smoke and Supercharge. Your second pet is a Darkmoon Tongue, with Missile, Minefield and Lock On. And finally, a Little Bling with SmackThat.exe. Start with your Iron Starlet, cast Wind Up to charge, Supercharge, and then Wind Up to hit. This should finish off Fungus and Murray enters. Cast Toxic Smoke until defeated. You could also try for a Wind Up to charge and hit, but your Starlet may be defeated before this. Once defeated, bring in your Tongue. Cast Minefield, followed by Lock On to charge and hit until Murray is defeated or low on health. If Murray is low on health, cast Missile if this will finish him off. Once Murray is defeated, all blue enters and is hit by Minefield. Cast Lock On to charge and hit until if and when your Tongue is defeated. If your Tongue is defeated, use your Little Bling SmackThat.exe to finish up the fight. And finally, not quite dead yet. Your first pet is a Son of Seth, with Absorb, Touch of the Animus and Lift Off. Your second pet is a Rising Saber Kitten, with Pounce, Screech and Devour. And finally, a Ghastly Kid with Hoof and Ethereal. Start with your Son of Seth and cast Lift Off. Followed by Touch of the Animus. And now use Absorb until Fungus is defeated. Once Fungus is defeated, Murray enters. Use Lift Off on cooldown, Touch of the Animus on cooldown, and Absorb to fill until your Son of Seth is defeated. Once your Son of Seth is defeated, bring in your Rising Saber Kitten. Start with Screech, and then use Pounce until Murray is defeated. If Murray is at or below 234 health, use Devour to get a heal. Once Murray is defeated, all blue enters, cast Screech, and then use Pounce until if and when your kitten enters its undead round. Once in your kitten's undead round, refresh Screech. Once the undead round is finished, your Ghastly Kid enters. Use Ethereal when Whirlpool has 1 round remaining, otherwise cast Hoof until the fight is done. Hope you found this video helpful, thanks for watching.